In early December, I had the chance to take a short trip to Tallinn with my wife. It was supposed to be a 2-night trip, but things were a little messed up when Air Baltic cancelled our flight 3 hours before departure time. It was the last flight of the night and Air Baltic offered to reschedule us on something the next day, but my wife, being the quick thinker that she is, suggested that we take a night bus so we could salvage our really short trip. And so that's what we did. And you can see the video review of the Lux Express service in the link in the corner. But the purpose of this video is to reflect on the experience of Tallinn's Old Town and compare it with the Old Town of Vilnius. Considering I've spent much more time in Vilnius and only a few hours in Tallinn, it may not be a totally fair comparison. Also, this trip to Tallinn was taken in the lead up to Christmas, and so I know I'm only seeing one side of this town. But with those little disclaimers out of the way, here are some initial thoughts on the Old Town of Tallinn. I think the biggest thing anyone might notice right away is that the buildings of Tallinn's Old Town are taller, giving you a feeling of being more closed in, with less of the sky being visible. I found that many of Tallinn's buildings are 3 to 5 floors tall, while in Vilnius it feels more like it's 2 to 4 floors. There's not much more I can say about this, and if I had to choose, I'm really not sure exactly which I would prefer. What about you? Do you have a preference? The next thing I notice is that Tallinn's Old Town walls are much better defined and are complete with defense towers and gates. I really like the look of these towers and how well they defined what is within the Old Town. Vilnius doesn't exactly have anything like this, and the only thing that comes close is the bastion of the Vilnius defensive wall located on the southeast side of the Old Town. The next one purely comes from my own knowledge and experience of Vilnius, and so I don't know if maybe I'm missing the same thing with Tallinn. But I feel like Vilnius Old Town has much more of a direction to it. The beginning, or top, of the Old Town is at the Gates of Dawn, and to me, the Old Town ends either at the bottom of Pilia Street or Vilnius Street. And of course, there are entrances and offshoots all along the side, but for me, it feels like there's a natural start and end. Of course, it could also be that the whole town has a gentle and subtle slope towards the river, and that's why I feel like there's a direction to everything. On the other hand, I didn't get the same vibe with Tallinn. Again, I don't know what's better or worse. But despite Vilnius having this natural slope towards the nearest river, I found Tallinn's Old Town to be a little more three-dimensional thanks to the fact that part of it is built up on a hill, which the internet tells me is known by the name of Toompea. Hiking up here, it felt a little bit like Montmartre neighborhood of Paris, even if there are way less shops and cafes in this part of town. Still, it's nice to get to the top and look down at the beautiful park below. I know on Vilnius' east side, there's a bit of a slope towards the Vilna River, facing towards Popys, but it's nowhere near as epic as Tallinn's Toompea. Strangely, despite a few sources on the internet saying that Vilnius has the largest preserved old town in Europe, Tallinn's Old Town didn't feel that much smaller. But I do think this was more psychological than anything, since I know almost every little street in Vilnius, while everything about my experience in Tallinn was pretty much brand new. After all, Vilnius Old Town has many great little distinct pockets, including Vokiečių Street, Vilnius Street, and Pilia Street. At the same time, I can tell you that Vilnius Town Square is a lot larger than Tallinn's. Although in terms of Christmas vibes, I would say that Tallinn's Old Town wins. But in the end, I think both of these towns are definitely worth visiting, and it's just too difficult to say which one I like more. If you're visiting or living in Lithuania, I would say it's definitely worth traveling the region and exploring all the great cities throughout the Baltics. And if you've already visited these two old towns, I, and perhaps other viewers, would love to hear what you think. Do you like one old town more than the other? Share your opinion by leaving a comment. But that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.